All right, we are live. I think I totally screwed that up, but here we are now. And welcome back to another family education and support group. My name is Parham. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hopefully, for those of you who've been around long enough, you know that that happens few and far between. I'm a perfectionist by nature, and I was trying a new microphone camera thing, and it completely backfired on me very last minute. But long story short, I'm here. Welcome back. It is Saturday, June 30th of 2022. July 30th of 2022. Martha, it's one of those days. I don't even know what month we're in right now. Oh my gosh. So thank you for your generosity, your kindness, everyone. It seems like you're all trickling in right now. And we'll start this family education support group, and a couple quick introductions about myself in case you're watching for the first time, whether now or later. So my name is Parham. I am your weekly host of this family education and support. It's something we've been doing here for 2.5 years now on this platform, and it happens primarily every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and all of our previous episodes are available for you to watch. If you just go to our Facebook or our YouTube and just kind of go down the videos, and you'll see myself probably wearing the same black t-shirt, probably in a very similar setting, doing a conversation that hopefully is geared to help human beings, first and foremost, introspect about themselves, right? To take a look at yourself and how you're going about life. Also, while providing some type of education and a free resource to be able to get a little bit more insight, information, knowledge about the recovery process of maybe someone else in your life that you really care about. That might be one of the main reasons you started watching this in the first place. But overall, it's kind of something that we talk about, various things like communication. Good morning, Jim. Sorry, bud. I just saw you there right now. Communication, mental illness, addiction, boundaries, trust, rebuilding trust, self-care, and a little bit of everything in between. So today is a brand new talk. I haven't done this one before. It's something that kind of just got inspired yesterday as I was kind of laying on the couch in the living room after a long day. And we have this window out here, and I was looking outside the window, and our floor is kind of on the higher floor of the apartment complex. And I had a nice perspective, and I was just looking outside of this tree, and it's a really large, I would say maybe 40-foot tree that has a lot of leaves on it, and it's green, and it just has a lot of canopy and provides a lot of shade. And it just looks really pretty, to call it what it is. It just looks really pretty. And I started thinking to myself, like, what can I learn from this tree? How can I learn a few lessons from this tree? And it took me down this rabbit hole of like nature and all that kind of stuff. And I know this sounds really far out right now, what I'm saying. And I promise you it's not. I'm going to get it back to life and recovery. And because here's the thing, like in this world that I always say we become human doings, there's so many things that we all do on a regular basis, and so many hats that we wear, and so many crises and fires we put out, and all that kind of stuff. We kind of just forget that first and foremost, we are human beings, right? And what other way to demonstrate the way we're supposed to be in our natural state than nature in this tree? So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of wing it, and let me know what you think of this conversation, because I think it's I did it for our program participants this morning. By the way, there was one of them that when he came to us, he was 18 years old from a program up in Washington. And it was like, when he first came, we're like, there's no way this kid's sticking around. And Jim knows who I'm talking about right now. And today that gentleman took 1 year of continuous sobriety. And he's been here longer than a year. So in the beginning, it was really bumpy and a rocky ride. And one of the talks today, as I kind of gave him the opportunity to talk, was I was just blown away with how this human being has evolved. And I did this talk for the program participants this morning. And yeah, Jim knows who I'm talking about. He gave a little yep. Today's the day, man. If you reach out to him, it's awesome. He's taking a chip over at his home group on Saturday. So long story short, here we go. So the 10 lessons that we can learn from trees, for free, by the way, about life and the recovery process. Okay. The first one is from a tree. What we learn is the following: take your time. and have some patience. Take your time and have some patience. When is the last time you saw an oak tree hurry its growth, right? We go to these places like Yosemite National Park and we look at these trees and we're like, wow, it takes our breath away. It's so majestic. It's just larger than life. Not knowing that it took long durations of time for it to evolve into what it is. And a lot of humans, now it could be a family member watching this, or it could be an individual going through the recovery process, they come in and they know their potential. They know what they can become. They know what they're capable of because they could see it, they could feel it, they can almost touch it. But they want to go from where they are to where they want to be. They want to go from the little acorn, the little seed that gets planted into the ground, into the big tree that we all admire and see like that. It doesn't exist. And I understand in a hyper technology world that everything is faster and faster and faster and faster, that we don't like to wait for checkout places, that our internet has to be as fast as possible, that our Amazon Prime has to deliver the same day. If it delivers the next day, we get frustrated. I understand in that world, it's hard to have patience because patience is a muscle. And our current world does not allow us to strengthen that muscle. Our current world says, I want it and I want it now. The tree teaches us, and I keep looking that way because the tree's over there. The tree teaches us to have some patience. And trust me, I'm one of those people that needs to learn that lesson. I'm like this. And that gets tiring after a while. So lesson number one we learn from a tree is take some time, all called patience. The next one that we learned from a tree, by the way, any questions you guys have or anything you want to elaborate on or relate to, in this conversation, feel free to utilize the comment section. I engage and interact. I never miss a comment. I read them all. And a lot of times I pop them up, so for example, if you're watching this the first time, I can pull up a question you have or a comment you have and share it with everyone and talk on it. So feel free to utilize that feature. So the next one that I learned from a tree is called weathering the storm, which equals strength. Okay, now I'm not going to sit here and say in Southern California, the tree outside of my apartment complex goes through a lot of storms because you know what? That tree has it pretty well. It's not like a tree in Florida or somewhere in the South or somewhere, that experiences significant changes with wind and temperature and all that kind of stuff. This tree kind of has it well. It's living a good life. But trees, they have to weather the storm. And you know what? They do weather the storm. But one thing I will tell you this is to be careful with how rigid we are through those storms, because something that's really rigid and something that's really, committed to the way it is, and guess what? Sometimes it gets snapped. But what I like is like when you look at like a bamboo, right? The flexibility. Bamboos bend, but they don't break. Bamboos bend. We got a couple of people from different parts. Martha, thank you for the invite. Maybe I'll take it up one day. Come up to Michigan to see some weathered trees. I'm sure there are. And Serapis said, us Florida trees know how to weather the storm. You absolutely do. And the California trees, like I said, they're kind of on the bougier side of things. But and here's what I told our program participants. All of you are going through a storm right now. And guess what? I'll extend that to all the family members that are watching this talk right now. We are all going through some type of a storm if you're in your early stages of your recovery. And guess what? You might even be in the eye of the storm. You might be in the part of the storm that is potentially the most dangerous. And what we got to do is you got to weather the storm. Sarah, if you could respond right now, there's something that you actually taught me about the roof in Florida. So I'm just going to leave it with the roof in Florida. So I'm not kind of doing it for you. Say it there. I'll share the comment because I think it's really appropriate in this moment. But so that's what I told all the program participants, man, you're going through it right now. You're going through it. What are you going to do? Because right now you can seek some shelter. You can just kind of know that you're safe and let the storm go past you by. Or you can run out in the storm and just get sucked up in it. And here it is. Oh, she corrected it. There we go. It's Sarah posted this. The best time to build the roof is while the sun is shining. So for those of you who are doing a little bit better in your life and in your recovery right now, I encourage you and invite you, based on what Sarah said right there, I guess it's a Florida saying, is that the best time to work on your roof is when the sun is shining. Because guess what? The storm will come again. And it's a heck of a lot harder to work on something when the rain's coming. My analogy of this is kind of similar to what Sarah's is, but mine's a little different. It's impossible to change the flat tire of a moving car. It's impossible to change the flat tire of a moving car. So when things are going well, sometimes you have to be proactive in life to prepare yourself appropriately and properly for when the storm comes. And you got to weather the storm. We learned that from trees. The next one is creating a treemunity, kind of a play on words with community, treemunity, which just means cooperation, right? So why do we learn that from trees? And you look at trees around, and some people don't know this, and some people do. So forgive me for teaching something that's so elementary, but trees are highly cooperative with each other. Trees are highly cooperative with each other. So what we see outside, we see the tree grow up, we see the canopy, the branches, the leaves, and we look at it and it's like, wow, there is so much happening where we don't see underneath the soil, into the ground, where the roots go. There are fungal networks that communicate with each other underneath. Yes, they communicate with each other. You know how we have the World Wide Web, the internet, we draw it all out in those really, really big forests, if you ever have a chance to watch a documentary on them, underneath the ground, those trees are communicating with each other in very intelligent ways. But you know what the most important part about communication is? They're also helping deliver nutrients. They're delivering life force source to each other. Whenever there are small trees in their vicinity, the larger trees take them and help them and love them and nurture them, right? Human beings are built by cooperation with working with each other. That's why I love this group, is because there's men, women from all over the country, different ages, different reasons for being here, cooperating with each other for 45 minutes and being able to provide something within a community. Cooperation is a big thing. This world it's woven in our fabric, in our DNA, cooperation is. However, today, oftentimes we lose that because we abandon the face-to-face stuff. We go into the virtual world. We start to do so in isolation. We stay in isolation for a long period of time, wondering why we're not thriving, because we need to cooperate with each other. So that's another lesson we learn from trees. This one is very important, I think, when it comes to the healing and recovery space, because trees are adapting and regenerating. Trees are self-healing. I know this sounds hippy-dippy shit, but I promise you it's true. Whenever a tree, whether by accident or by a disease, gets injured, internally within the tree, little knots get created. And I'm simplifying all this because I just think it's so awesome. But what these knots do, they actually preserve life. When nutrients are going in, they go around these knots and they continue giving nutrients to the rest of the tree until that knot area eventually starts to regenerate and heal itself. This is fascinating. Without that action mechanism, it would just go there and die. It would just stop. The knot allows it to go through and around. And this is what I told the program participants today. I said, you know what? I understand it's 8 a.m. I understand you're either here by choice or by force, and you really don't want to hear me talk. But I need you to listen to the next few minutes here and just to get their attention. I said, I know and understand and believe that many of you have had pain, have had trauma, have had negative life experiences prior to your substance use, prior to your mental illness developing and really getting legs and taking off. I know it, because those were all just ways of adapting and coping to it. I understand it. And I know that because you adapted with things like substance use disorder or, addictive behaviors or compulsive behaviors or, serious depression or panic attacks and anxiety, that started to compound and you started to hurt yourself even more on top of that. So what was helping you started to hurt you. However, now that you're here right now, just like a tree is responsible to heal itself, you are also responsible to heal yourself. And I'm not saying that that stuff that happened is your fault, because oftentimes a lot of it, if it happened then and there when you're younger, really wasn't your fault. You had no say in it. You had no part in it. Besides the fact that you just happened to be in that geographical, you happen to be inside that home when all that shit was happening. Right? That was just luck of choice. But here's the thing. You're responsible for healing, because a lot of people come into these therapeutic spaces, whether they're family members or program participants, and they just wait for the healing to happen around them. What if it never does? What if we are the ones that are supposed to regenerate and heal from internally out, and then be able to soak in and take in what's available around us? What if, I told the program part this, what if mom, dad ain't coming to rescue you anymore? What if they're not coming, whoever it is, to come say sorry to you and beg for your forgiveness? What if the opportunities that passed you by aren't going to come around and hit you in the face anymore? Are you just going to sit around and wait for all that to happen for you to be able to heal? Or are you going to take your healing journey into your own hands and take responsibility for it like a tree does? See, a tree doesn't say, I'm injured, I'm hurt, I need another tree, I need something else to come save me and help me. A lot of us needed to get saved at some point in our life, and we never did. Okay, but that's over right now. Right now, as adults, it's what are we going to do about it? And I say this with this much belief and conviction, and I say it with so much enthusiasm and passion because I believe in what I'm saying. And I've had people come up to me afterwards and say, hey, I don't agree with what you said. I don't agree that I'm responsible for my healing when all these other people were the ones that hurt me, that screwed me over, that did all these bad things to me, right? Why am I responsible for it when they did it? And I say, because you are. Because they're not going to come and heal you from your wounds. You got to do it yourself. And you know what? The best we can do in life is to promise the next person, the next generation, the next one that comes after us, that we are not going to do to them what was done to us. And you know what unfortunately happens when people don't work on their shit and take responsibility for their wounds? They do to others what was done to them. I'm as someone that's worked therapeutically and clinically with a lot of people in a therapy space. Do you want to know how many times people have come to me because they're doing X, Y, and Z in their life, and it's scaring the hell out of them because that's exactly what was done to them. And it's the thing that they hurt them the most. There's been so many people that come to me that were, let's just say, verbally abused as a child. And now later on in life, they're verbally abusing their child and they don't know what the hell just happened because they never healed to learn how to communicate. Let's see what Julian said here. Counselor Julian, hey, I was on Instagram last night, maybe Facebook or Instagram, I don't know. But I saw a post that you posted, and it was a certificate, a real certificate that wasn't doctored or faked or forged like you tweakers do. It was a real certificate that said a certified alcohol addiction treatment counselor, certified by the state of California, legit, through organization that's legit. And I saw your name on it, so it must have belonged to you. But yeah, man. You are not responsible for how things affect you as a child, but you are 100% responsible for how you deal with it as an adult. Well said. See what Eileen said here. I like the participation. I appreciate it. I find that if we forgive the child that was within the adult who hurt us because they were hurt, it helps give us perspective to heal. 100%. Yeah, the child within. So there's a lot of work here called the inner child work, and it's kind of similar to what Eileen's talking about here. And Bradshaw, I believe his name is Bradshaw, is the kind of the individual, the therapist that came up with a lot of the work there. So he's got some books out there on the inner child work. If you know that you were harmed or hurt as a child, and you don't want to do the therapy thing, there's some stuff there you can start with and get exposed to. But yeah, it's when you heal that child, you become okay with the world. The way that I put it, Eileen, is that when you're at peace with the world, When you're at peace with yourself, you're at peace with the world and the people, places, and things in it. And when we're hurt as a child, we lose that sense of peace with self. So again, that quote goes, when you're at peace with yourself, you're at peace with the world and all of the people and places and things in it. So the work is to get to that loving peace. Jim said, congrats, Julians. So, this one, actually, I used this one too with the program participants this morning. The tree teaches us to stand tall. The tree teaches us to stand tall. It means to have some pride. Okay. And I'm not talking about false pride. I'm not talking about ego. I'm not talking about a sense of cockiness. That's not what I'm talking about, because trees are they're the definition of humility. They give and they give and they give and they give, and all they want is just a little bit of nutrients and sunlight and water and oxygen to be able to just be. And trees, if you don't know, they never take more than they need. I don't know if you know that. Is a tree only takes what it needs. It never overindulges. It never has any type of gluttony. It doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. It just takes what it needs. So standing tall is what we learn from a tree. And the way I kind of talked about this one this morning is, first of all, the tallest tree is 379 feet, 380 feet. It's somewhere, it says, in the redwoods found in Northern California. 380 feet tall. Like, imagine the amount of pride that thing has, how long it's been standing there. And it dwarfs the Statue of Liberty, for example. So, the symbol of like strength and independence and the signal of like freedom, like that symbol. There's something over there across the country that dwarfs that thing that's just out there in nature. I think that represents all the same things. So why is this? Actually, I had some interaction here that might be good. Let's see what. First of all, Hossein, sorry, you said taking full responsibility regardless of my share of guilt. 100%. Yeah, has nothing to do with guilt. Responsibility has nothing to do with guilt. Responsibility is the opposite of it. It's taking some action. See, guilt is not taking action. Responsibility is taking some action. And guess what? If you do the right thing over an extended period of time, it's like the kryptonite of that guilt. The guilt starts going away. Ashley, let's see what you said here. What's up, first of all, Miss Ashley? We have a hardcore clinician in the house right now. Clinical director, one might say. There's this book called How to Be an Adult, and it's really good. It teaches people how to heal and move forward from all atavistic things we learned as children. I think that's the word. Yeah. Sorry if I squint. I have a really bad left eye. It's healing, let's say. But yeah, no, thank you for the book recommendation. Anytime you want to come up here and talk, first of all, feel free. We could split the screen and I could do a split screen. I've done it with Julian before. And thank you for all you do in the healing space and working with human beings at a time in their life that they are literally lost. And you play a big role in that. So I hope you know that. Let's see what Martha says. Oh, old school. Sorry. So, I'm not as smart as I present to be sometimes, but I like how that word means old school. I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you for dumbing it down for us common folks. No, but in general, I can't see anything, especially when I'm reading these. So Martha says, find the thing that makes you feel tallest. Yeah, 100%. Find whatever you're proud of. So this is what I was telling our program participants this morning. I've been talking like nonstop for 3 hours, if you could tell. What I told them was this, is I notice a lot of your body languages are inward, and I know a lot of your heads are down, and I know a lot of your shoulders are slumped, and I know a lot of you have a hard time making eye contact. However, I invite you just for a few moments to allow yourself to experience what it's like to have your shoulders come up, your head come up, your frown to kind of just open up, maybe even, God forbid, like smile, right? And because there's a lot to be proud of in this moment. And they might be thinking, well, hey, what am I proud of? What do I have to show for my life? What do I have to put my head back on, whatever all that stuff is, when all I have done is X, Y, and Z for my life. When the reality it is, maybe you're not where you want to be in life, but you're sure as heck a lot further than where you were. Because if you look back to a time in your life, and not like the ancient history, maybe like 30, 60, 90, 6 months, a year ago in your life, I'm talking about like right here. There was times in your life that you were lying to yourselves and lying to others. There was time in your life that you were stealing from yourself or stealing from others. And some people might say, I never stole from anybody. I have integrity and character when I use my substances. You can steal emotionally from someone. You can steal people's thoughts. You can steal their heart. You can steal their energy. You can steal their sleep, right? That's a form of stealing, my friends. So maybe there was a time in your life that you failed to follow through with the things you said that you will do. Maybe there was a time in your life when you wouldn't pick up phone calls, respond to text messages. Maybe all that stuff was in your life. And today, if it's not, be proud of that. Be proud of the fact that today you're not lying and stealing. Be proud of the fact that you're not hurting people around you. Be proud of the fact that you're honoring your word and you're here today. Like, there's a lot to be proud of there. And again, maybe you're not where you want to be, and right now you feel like you're failing, but God, failure was before you got here. That's failure. That's like giving up on self. It's giving up on life. It's giving up on others. Maybe there isn't anything to be proud of in that moment, but right now there is. So when we look at a tree, we learn how to stand tall and have some pride. In the winter, we learn this thing, winter dormancy, which is just rest. So if you know the seasons, I do this whole talk on the seasons, which I love. You've heard me do it. But one thing I don't really touch on there is when the leaves start to fall in the fall, in the autumn, when the leaves are falling off the trees. One of the primary reasons that's happening is because the tree is trying to shed all the extra weight that it has to preserve as much energy as it has. The metabolic activity is going to be lower so it can endure all of the craziness that happens in places like Michigan in the winter. The additional water, the snow, the ice, the freeze, all that stuff. It needs to be in a state of just kind of pure rest. And I'm not saying, hey, we got to go take a hibernation, 3-6 months of just sleeping. That'd be nice, but I don't think we'd be able to pay our bills. But I do believe that rest is a vital, vital factor. And this is not just for people who abuse drugs and alcohol, my friends. For family members, you need the rest just as bad because you are exhausted from dealing with addictions and dealing with mental health. You are exhausted from dealing with the consequences of the same. You're exhausted of just the recovery process. It's exhausting. So make sure that you are also getting adequate rest, and be careful for how much caffeine consumption. So the program part, one thing that happens in early recovery, and it's not like if your loved one's doing this, I don't want you to think like, oh, they're doing something wrong. If you have any respect for me and how I present myself and the passion I have, I could tell you this. Even though I'm 14 years sober, the first couple years of my recovery and sobriety, I drank so many energy drinks. I know it's not in my character, and I know just saying it makes me feel bad. I used to drink so much energy drinks, and I've changed that since. I've gone to coffee and tea, and I try to do my best with just having green tea and all that kind of stuff. I've tried that. I've gone there. But the program participants are obsessed with energy drinks, and it's so hard because they're feeling so tired, because what happens is when you use and abuse substances for a period of time, your energy levels, your dopamine levels, your natural synapses and all that kind of the rest stuff, all that, it really gets zapped. And by the way, depression does the same. Anxiety drains people so much because our fight or flight is turned on. Our adrenal glands are just sucked out. Anxiety does horrible things to people's energy levels, And people that have been in a constant state of anxiety, hypervigilance their entire life, they're exhausted right now, and they're not doing drugs anymore. So they go for the energy drink, right? And again, it's not like a relapse, but it's not healthy. So the same way when a baby is crying and it's tired, we've all seen that, right? You've experienced it. I'm sure you parents have had countless sleepless nights, like rocking a little baby that's crying in the middle of the night. It's tired. It wants to sleep, but it's not sleeping. Does a mom or a dad, do they go and get a tired baby and do they put caffeine in its mouth? Do you? I mean, imagine that. Like the baby's crying, it's exhausted, it's tired. So you have a little Monster Red Bull and just kind of tap it in its mouth. No. When a baby is tired, what do we have to do? We have to slow it down, calm it down, and allow it to fall asleep. When it wakes up energetic. It wakes up energetic. But somewhere along this journey of life, we forgot that simple lesson. When adults are tired, we go for the energy drink instead of the rest. So today, if you see yourself going for some more energy, maybe you're like, hey, maybe I got to take a little nap, right? And yeah, thank you, touche. The parent is drinking the Red Bull. Yeah. Oh man, this whole life stuff, it all comes back full circle, doesn't it? So the next few that I have here is, I like this one too. It just says to living unbound. So a tree grows where a tree grows. Okay, so that's kind of the preface of it. And living unbound means to have freedom. So I'm one of those people that in my life, throughout my years of development, I've always actually struggled with perfectionism. So whether it's like internal conversations I have with myself, external voices I download with like people in society saying life has to be a certain way, and if I don't meet that, then I'm failing. You know, that it's negative. It's not like a healthy trait. It does help sometimes because sometimes I have this internal anxiety that forces me to produce and create things that wouldn't happen without perfectionism, to be honest. But sometimes it's a tough narrative and a tough tape inside my own mind. So this is telling us to live unbound and to have freedom. And here's what it means. A tree grows where a tree grows. A tree grows how a tree grows. And to a tree, when you look at one, you don't say this one's better than that one, or that one's better than that one, or that one's better than that one. When you see a bunch of trees, you just say, damn, they all look good. They're all beautiful. They're all pretty. And if you look at them from up close, they all look so damn different. From a distance, just like human beings, we all look the same. When you go closer and closer and closer and closer and inspect the human being and inspect their journey and their roots and their history and what it took for them to get there, we all become so damn unique. We all become so different. We all become beautiful. But here's the thing. When we push perfectionism aside, we have to understand that we need to foster our best version of ourselves, because that's what trees do. Trees give the best version of themselves. Trees give the best version of themselves. And I asked our program participants this morning, I said, hey, every one of you are going to be different. And that's okay. It's okay that you're going to be different. But you are the only one that knows what your best version of yourself is. And if you look at yourself and say, hey, I am giving my best version of myself and I'm trying to be the best version of myself, no one in this world can come say anything to you because you're whole and complete with that thought. You're at peace with it. You're content with it. You believe, you know it. That's a great place to be. But if you know you're not giving your best version of yourself, if you know that you are not showing up to your best ability, why not? You know, trees don't do that. They don't just say, hey, you know, I'm going to kind of give a half-ass effort at this life. They give it all they got. They give it all they got and nobody judges them. And the trees around them don't judge them either. You know, so to have freedom to be who you are, you know, to have freedom to be who you are. And the next one right here, actually the last one, I saved the most important for last. I normally go first, but I wanted to go last. And it talks about spreading your roots. Okay. Now, as many of you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, my life is dedicated to the possibility of human transformation. So all I really try to do is create moments in time and space with human beings to be able to create some transformation in their mind, their body, their spirit, their soul. And because I believe that transformed people can transform people. People that get transformed themselves can go and all of a sudden help create transformation in others. And when you do so, by the way, it starts to exponentially grow. And that's how change happens. Macro level change. That's how societies change and life changes. But in order to do so, in order to transform and become a greater version than your current self, to reach your full potential, you're going to have some significant roots that hold this growth. Without roots, whatever grows is going to fall down. It's going to break. Without a foundation, without roots. And some people don't know this, that sometimes when you look at those majestic trees that are so high in the air, sometimes their roots go just as deep into the earth as they go up into the sky. And some people don't know this, that sometimes their roots go as wide underneath the earth as their canopy goes out into the sky. So imagine a mirror image of what you see outside is happening underneath. And that's, I think, the lesson there for all of us to learn, that as you grow and evolve in life and people are able to see what they're able to see, is the same mirror happening below where people can't see. That's where your values, that's where your character, that's where your roots exist. And that is the most important part, because without that foundation in your life and in your recovery, I don't believe that you can actually become your fullest expression of self. I don't believe that you can reach your potential, because if it grows a little too much and the roots can't handle it, it's going to break down. And, you know, in the recovery process, we talk about build a foundation to build your life on. And that's what everybody right now watching this, if you're in your early stages of recovery, which I believe most of you are, some of you obviously aren't, but most of you are, is focus on that. When you look at a tree, just remember, man, it looks so awesome underneath where I can't see, the same thing's happening. And then you got to look at yourself inside of you, underneath where we all have roots, what's happening. So this was a really cool talk. You know, whenever I do new talks, I get a little anxious because I've never done it before. And I try to make sure that it goes. But as soon as I start talking, I'm like, wow, this is like good stuff. You know, I'm glad I got a new topic out. And I appreciated this one. So sorry for those technical difficulties in the beginning, like I said. And this is nice. Dan, thank you. I'm always good to see you on your Parham. You've helped transform my life. I learn something new from you every week. Thank you. Thank you, man. That's taking the time to say that means a lot, you know, and for anybody watching this, you know, Dan and his family have been watching this for over 2 years now. And I've seen transformation in them, right? And their relationship with their loved one. Saw a picture recently that made me really happy somewhere on one of you guys' social media. Looked great. It looked great. Let's see what Hossein said here. A bigger and stronger tree becomes a more humble tree. Absolutely. And, you know, all trees have humble beginnings. I didn't even touch on that. All trees have humble beginnings. They all start off from a little acorn, you know, and it's all plants. Eileen, thank you. Great analogy. I know sometimes we just go from nature. Martha, I liked it. Good. I consider your feedback important. I know you're in the academia world, so it's anytime someone, a true academic, give me thumbs up, it's a good thing. Debbie, yes, really good stuff and love the topic. Awesome. Thank you so much. Jim, #1 fan. Appreciate you, man. So I love and appreciate all of you. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Let's be like trees this weekend. Remember this lesson, and always remember, trees always like to look at the sun for a little bit. And if you catch yourself looking at the sun, make sure you smile back at it, because there's a chance it's smiling at you. You just don't know it. Love and appreciate all of you. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a wonderful one. Bye, everyone.